Hello, and welcome to Speak Honest. I am your host and certified relationship coach, Jennifer Noble. It has been my passion for over a decade to help women like you heal what's been holding you back from having the relationships you deserve. Are you struggling with a relationship where you can't seem to voice your emotions, needs, and boundaries without having it blow up in your face? Then you have found the right podcast, my friend. Get ready for practical tips, empowering truths, and honest conversations. Now, let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Speak Honest. I am Jen Noble, your go-to relationship coach. And on today's podcast, I have a special guest. Today, I have Jennifer Henczel joining us. Now, Jennifer Henczel is a podcaster, author, and founder of the Inspiring Innovators Club and the Women Podcasters Network show and awards. It is Jennifer's mission to lift women's voices and stories globally. So you can imagine why I loved having her on the show, both because her name is fantastic, obviously, but also because it's her goal to lift women's voices. Jennifer is known for her ability to build thriving, supportive, and collaborative communities, and she teaches others how to do the same. She loves creating opportunities for women to connect and collaborate in meaningful ways. And I myself actually am getting a chance to collaborate with Jen because I have been nominated for a Women Podcasters Award. Yay! I'm so excited. I feel so honored to be nominated for this award. And what I want to talk to you about today is getting your support. So if you are listening to this and it is between May 1st and May 31st, 2025, I'm just double checking because, maybe you're listening to this years later. If you could, please do me the biggest favor, scroll on down to the show notes and click on the link that says Vote for Speak Honest. I want you to vote for Speak Honest, please. It would mean the world to me so much right now because it would be such an honor to be able to win this award. I am in the personal development category. So when you click on the link, you're going to go down, you're going to scroll through. You can vote for any of the other podcasts as well. But the one you want to click on is personal development and Speak Honest. If you could do that, you would make me so happy. And if you get a chance, if you want to go ahead and take a screen cap of your vote and drop it in the Facebook group or email it to me, then I will put you in the running for a free coaching call. It means the world to me that you all are going out to the support, and I want to give back to that as well. And anyone that votes is going to be entered into a drawing for a free 60-minute coaching call with me. Thank you so much for your support. And again, as you're listening to my conversation with Jen, I just want you to really be thinking about where in your own life can you take this big leap to start something. So Jen's story is so incredibly inspirational. What she went through with her husband, what she's done to build her own business, it is all inspiring. And so I want you to listen to this episode and really just keep in mind, where could you be following your passions? Where could you be creating opportunities to lift others' voices? All right, I hope you enjoy this conversation with Jen. So I am joined today with Jennifer Henczel, and I am so excited to have Jen on the podcast today because Jen is the founder of Women Podcasters Award and Network. And I myself am a nominee in the Women Podcasters Award this year. So excited about that. But first and foremost, Jen, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really love being here with you today on your show. So I founded the Women Podcasters Network and the Women Podcasters Awards, and you're in there, and I hope people vote for you because you're doing an amazing job with your show. You are a perfect example of someone having a podcast, and a podcast is all about displaying your expertise and helping people and building a community around your message, and you're doing so well at that. So I really appreciate connecting with you.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I appreciate connecting with you through the awards. It's just my joy to connect with other women podcasters. And, for many years, I was running my part-time business on the side and working a full-time job. And it just seemed like success was always around the corner. I was always trying to turn my side gig into my full-time income, And so one day I was at my full-time job and I got a phone call that nobody wants to receive. And it was my husband's boss. And he said, "You've got to come to the hospital right away." And my husband had been in a terrible accident at work. And I got there to the hospital, all the way to the hospital. I was thinking, I'm not going to lose my best friend today. And I was really terrified because I didn't know what was happening. At that point, I had very little information. I got there. I didn't even recognize him. He had been crushed by thousands of pounds of wood.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, he survived. Thankfully, he survived. And it was many years of recovery. He still is left with some permanent injuries. It really blew up our life. But at the same time, it kind of ignited something in me, in both of us, to pursue our passions more. Because, for many years, I was really burning myself out. I was working 12, 14, 16 hours a day in hustle mode. I was in a very competitive hustle mindset. And this whole experience really changed my whole outlook. And so what happened was, one of the things that really impacted me was the communities that my husband was involved in at the time. He was a volunteer football coach and announcer in our community. And football players and coaches would come around and say, "We're here for you, Coach Paul." It was really touching.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that.
Yeah. And it really sustained us through that time, and it was so important. So it really woke me up. And I realized I was missing that kind of community in the entrepreneur world, in the business world. And so I invited some other business owners to lunch one day. I just thought, I'm just going to try to connect with some other people in a genuine way, and have some relationship in my community, some deeper relationship. And so to my surprise, 50 business owners showed up.
That many?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You could tell it's a need when that starts to happen. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And
oh my goodness.
That one meeting turned into a group, and the group turned into a network. And I ended up with a large business network with multiple chapters throughout my area. And, it really brought my husband and I closer. We had heard that some people get divorced through this situation, but we became closer. And actually, I was able to use my platform to help him go from an injured mill worker to an international speaker. And so he did a TED Talk about the experience called Silencing Stigma Through Storytelling, and wrote a book about our story.
That's stunning.
Yeah. And so I learned the benefit of community, being part of a community, connection, putting our health and wellness first, stop putting my passions on the back burner and bringing everything forward. And you know what? That helped me finally take my side gig into my full-time income. And that was in 2012. And I haven't worked for anyone since. I've been full-time, self-employed ever since then.
I love to hear it so much. And thank you so much for sharing your story. All of it, I think, is so inspirational. I did get a chance to watch your husband's TED Talk. It's so powerful. If anyone get a chance to go and check it out, I'll stick the link to the TED Talk in the show notes so people can look at it, because I feel like your story is so just inspirational in terms of how the two of you got together. But you're so right. In this kind of entrepreneurial world, it's hustle, 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 isn't it? Which, in my understanding, is just such a masculine thought process. It's such a, you got to get out there, you got to, dig deep, you got to do all this stuff. But now that you are the successful businesswoman, you are working with other successful businesswomen all of this time. What are you finding is actually helpful in these situations? Yes, we do need to hustle a little bit. Yes, we do have to work hard, but sometimes that can be counterproductive, can't it?
Well, yeah, you need to be part of a community. For anything to work, I found out that you need to be part of a community. So even if you don't want to start your own community, get involved in someone else's community and have a giver approach, not a who's going to buy from me today, more of a how can you contribute your gifts to the community and become really part of that community. You have to be community minded before you can start your own community anyways. And I found out that for anyone to help you, you need to show up to be helped. Because there's people out there who want to support you, help you, learn from you, and there's people out there for you to learn from. And you need to get out there and connect. So whether it's online or live in person, that really makes a difference, to be live in person and that genuine one-to-one connection and being part of a group live in person makes a big difference, but however you can be part of a community, get involved and contribute your gifts and skills. And, I want to offer your audience too a complimentary copy of my husband's book if you're interested.
That would be lovely. Yes, they would love that. That would be great.
Yeah, you can go to innovators.fm.
Okay.
/gifts, and you can get a digital copy of the book there. And so along the way, though, we had learned a lot of different modalities that helped us as a couple and just helped, of course, him in his recovery. And so we started our own podcast because we were learning from podcasts a lot. And so we decided to start our own podcast together. So my first podcast was with my husband. We still have it. It's called Inspiring Innovators Show. And so we have that show together. And then I have the Women in Podcasting show.
I love that. What is it like podcasting with your husband? You guys went through this traumatic situation together. And I have a lot of listeners here that can barely make it through dinner together with their husbands right now. And so what would you say is that kind of special spark between the two of you that allows you to have these beautiful moments together?
The interesting thing is we've known each other since we were kids, but we didn't get together as a couple until late 20s.
Oh, cute. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we grew up on parallel streets, just one block over from each other. And then as adults, we got to know each other and got married. And when this happened, like I said, it really blew up our lives, but it also brought us closer together. And we learned a lot of modalities together that really bring us together too. So for example, hypnosis, meditation, affirmations, gratitude practice is a big one. And then storytelling was huge because that really helped him in his recovery. And we found that when we told our story, it encouraged other people to tell their story. And so that really brings us together too, because it's such a joy to help others to get their message out, not just our message.
Yeah, because that's part so powerful. Because if we hold on to our situations or anything that's going on and we're not able to speak them out, then they get hidden. And it's through the power of being able to voice them where our stories are told and people can learn from them. And it actually helps us heal too, doesn't it? Because there must have been a lot. People, I'm sure, will often talk about the struggle he went through with the accident. But what they don't often talk about is the struggle the spouse, the person that goes through, to have to watch him go through all of that and have to be through all of that. And so for you to be his rock, for you to be there for him, that must have been so difficult, but at the same time, probably so powerful.
Exactly. Yes, that exact combination for sure.
Yeah. Now tell me, let me get my timeline together. With the accident and then you starting your own business, was that around the same time or were they years apart?
It was maybe about a year and a half in.
Okay.
It happened. So yeah, so it was a bit of a progression. So I was helping him. I was working full time. So it was really tough because he needed a lot of help. So we would have someone come to the house and help him. And, it was all a struggle, but we got through it. And then for me to be able to have my own business and have that freedom, the time freedom to be able to take care of him better a year and a half in, then it really made a big difference because then I had time for myself as well. And we both put our self-care first instead of putting our health at the back. Putting it last, we put it first and things like that. That really made a big difference.
That part is so important. Your self-care, your health, all of that stuff, like really being able to put that first, because if the two of you can also have your personal time, then you're going to show up better as a couple, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that's beautiful. Can you tell me about a time when there was a struggle because, you're busy with the business and you're doing all of this stuff and maybe there's a disconnect happening. How did the two of you find each other again during that time?
We would chip away at things like I said, when we were bringing on these new modalities, it would help a lot. So visualization was a big one for us. When we were really feeling down, we would look at what are our plans for the future and try to focus on the present and the future rather than dwell on the stuff. So we made a very conscious choice. When we were in public, we would talk about the story and the overcoming and, the going from surviving to thriving and things like that. So for example, anyone who's been in an accident knows there's other struggles with insurance, workplaces and things like that. And I won't go into it. That's a lot of couples get divorced over, because that's probably the biggest divisive factor. But we chose not to talk about those things. And we chose to focus on the positive, not just in each other, but even in everything we did. We would try to focus on the positive. And it was really hard to do that. It is much easier to dwell, on so many things that are coming at you than to stay positive. It was actually a struggle, but it turned out better because it became a practice and it's become our life. And I'm so glad we did that. I don't even know what drove us at the time to stick to that and really force ourselves. Like we were vigilant. We had to be vigilant about it.
Oh, so you had to work hard. It's not like, oh, hey, let's do this thing. And then no one ever actually picks it up or does anything or whatnot. You put the work in. I think that part is so important. It's we're vigilant. We're doing the thing. I saw this really cool quote the other day that was, you could throw a bucket of water on a rock and you'll have a clean rock. Or if you drop a small, tiny drop of water on that rock consistently over years, you can actually create a hole in that rock.
Oh, wow. That's exactly it.
And it's that visualization of what you guys were doing. There's no big, profession of love or whatever it is and like all this stuff you're going to work on. It was the daily decision that you guys were going to do this together.
Yes.
And you came out on the other side. And I love that so much.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about this Podcasters Awards, because, well, all of this stuff you have working with your husband and all these, the couple stuff that you have, but your heart seems to be for women. So tell me how, where did that come from? Why not all podcasters? Where did that passion come from?
Yeah. So I really had a joy to connect with other women podcasters. And when I started, there wasn't nearly as many women podcasters as there is now. It's really grown. So in 2019, 2020, when I started podcasting, I had been learning too, by the way, just as a side note, for 10 years, I had been learning and I finally did it around 2019, 2020 in that time zone. And so, and then for the next few years after that, so there was only 1 million podcasts at that time. Okay. In 2019.
Wow. Really? That's it?
Yeah. Yeah. And now
that's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And now there's over 5 million.
That's wild.
And there was hardly any women podcasters then, in comparison to the vast
amount. Oh, absolutely.
And so now there's lots of women podcasters and there's over 5 million podcasts. So there's still lots of room to grow, but there's also the listenership has gone way up. And so the demand for podcasters, there's still lots of room to grow and to have new shows. It's not saturated at all. There's still lots of opportunity. And so it's such a thrill for me to connect with other women podcasters, especially at that time. And then so for me to be able to see it grow like that and to contribute to the increase of women podcasters in the industry, it's just so thrilling. And so my mission is to elevate women's voices globally and in the podcasting industry. And so thank you so much for being part of that and for being a nominee in the awards. I made it a people's choice style of awards so that it can be engaging and it's actually a community building tool. So podcasters can take that and rally their listeners and engage their listeners. And, your listeners want to vote for you.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, they become part of your family. You mentioned earlier about community. And as you were talking about needing a community, I just kept thinking about my ladies, the women that I have that listen and they reach out to me and email and they say, this thing you said right here, I put it on, my window today on my car or whatever it was, or the Facebook group that I have as well. And the women are in there and they lift each other up. The other day, I do this group coaching program as well. And the other day, these ladies just started lifting each other up. They just started talking to each other. And I just I'm the coach. I'm supposed to be there helping them. And I just kind of sat back I don't even have to work anymore. We all have it in us, and when we bring that community together, we all lift up. And I love saying all boats rise with the tide. And so even though this is technically a competition, for the podcast, and please go vote for me, please, the link is in the show notes. I really want to win this. Go vote for me. I'm not going to lie. At the same time, go check out the other podcasts from these women, because I started looking at the nominees and I've gotten into some of their podcasts. And that's the best thing about podcasting is you're right. It's not oversaturated at all. How many of us listen to, 20 different radio stations when we're driving in a car? You can listen to dozens of podcasts throughout the day and throughout the week. And you can follow a podcast here and maybe catch up with it once a month. You can, listen to it religiously every week. It doesn't matter. And so just get out there and keep doing it. And thank you for bringing that up. It's such a good point.
Oh, you're doing such a great job. And I hope people vote for you because this is an opportunity. Even just being a nominee is a great opportunity to elevate your voice and to increase your visibility. And so I'm so excited that you're in the awards. And, it's just everything I do at the core is connection and community. Now, after what we went through, it's just so important to me, because I found out that people will help you if you show up to be helped.
Ooh, I love that. People will help you if you show up to be helped. I think that's a powerful line. Now, what would you say to someone who's listening right now and they're like, I want to start a podcast. You sat on it for 10 years, Jen. You were like, yes, I wanted to start. I remember for me, I've had a dream to have a podcast for as long as I could remember. As long as I've been listening to podcasts, I'm very addicted to podcasts. And I have wanted to do one so much that I'm back in college right now. I'm going to school for psychology to get my degree and all this stuff. And one of my school projects, I convinced the teacher to let me start a podcast because I thought it'll get it under my belt. And then that's how this all kind of started. And I bought my cute little mic and I worked with my classmates and I got it all together and I got the bug and I figured out, okay, I want to do this. And then I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And I was just like talking into a mic, pretending like I knew what was happening, trying to edit it on my own. And I didn't know anything. So do you ever help people with starting podcasts, or what would you recommend to them to do to really just get over that hump?
Just take the leap. Take the leap. Just, even if you just have your phone, you don't need fancy equipment. That's one of the things. Is I started with a less expensive mic and I graduated up. I've had more expensive mics than this. And then I came back down to this one's not that expensive, but I find it better than some of the other mics. So, don't make the equipment a barrier to just starting. Take the leap. When I was 50, I went skydiving when I turned 50.
That's fantastic.
And when it was my choice to go, right? And so as going up in the plane, I was doing fine until we got to the top and people started rolling out of the plane, which you don't normally see on a plane, right?
Mm-hmm. Let's hope not, at least.
Exactly. And then it was our turn. We nudged towards the door. I was tethered to somebody, but he was letting me kind of decide. And so we had to stand on a stair on the outside of the plane. So just imagine standing on a stair on the outside of a moving plane, 10,000 feet up.
No. Continue.
Yeah. Well, that moment on this was terrifying because I looked out, I could see the horizon. The view was terrifying. But then we took the leap, and for the first few seconds, it feels like you're falling. It's very terrifying. But then you take the position. After 3 to 5 seconds, it just feels like floating and flying. I don't know if you knew that about skydiving, but
I did not know that at all.
I didn't know that either until it happened, right? And then the view became spectacular. And then every minute, every second was amazing, beautiful, wonderful, just incredible. I landed safely and it was the most amazing experience of my life. And so I constantly, every day I'm reminded, hey, it's most fearful right before the leap. But if you can just take that leap, there is so much beauty on the other side. And telling your story is just the most beautiful experience. It really helped us. It helped us through the whole process and the whole rehabilitation.
But you're right. It's so scary to start. You're going to have these doubts in your head. Who wants to listen to me? Who do I think I am? Why would anyone actually listen to this thing? But even if just 1 or 2 people listen to your story, even if you just get out, pop out 20 podcasts and you call it a day. I've found podcasts, on Apple. I usually listen on Apple and I'll find a podcast and I saw, okay, she only put out 20 episodes and I see she kind of stopped, but those 20 episodes still made an impact in my life in those moments. And that's what it's about, is podcasting. You get to have your story out there and it gets to stay. Unlike social media, you put a story out, you put a reel out, within hours, people are moving on to the next thing.
That's true.
But this is such a beautiful opportunity to get out there. And like you said, you got to take that first step. Also, by the way, can I just say, you should do marketing for skydiving, because never in my life have I ever wanted to skydive. And you almost got me there. Because I was like, oh, this actually sounds really good. Maybe now I could try it in a couple years. But you're right. That first leap. That first podcast that you put out there, that first anything that is that you do, just get it out there. Have it be imperfect progress, right? It's what it's all about. What was it like for you starting up your podcast, doing your first episode, putting it out there? Did you put one episode out and then kind of test the waters? Did you bank a bunch and then kind of slowly drip them out one at a time? Do you remember at all what you did?
Yeah, the recommendation even then was have at least 5 episodes ready to roll so that you can either roll them out one day after the other or all at once. Just have 5 up there. And then you can keep some ready to go so that you can then start producing them and have them out more consistently.
Yeah, I really like banking episodes. I like trying to do them in advance. Just to pull the curtain back, for example, it's April 24th right now. And then who's ever listening to this when it comes out, you're going to see how early on we actually recorded this, but it'll come out, probably in a week or 2. And that kind of working it out that way, that way people don't think oh my God, are they just doing every single week? Are they doing this? I was no, sometimes we just sit down, do a whole bunch. I'll probably interview someone else later on tomorrow. I bank a bunch and then I put them out. And you can make it work for however you want. Versus I do have a friend, she has a podcast and she's no, I sit down the day before, I record it, I send it out to my editor and that's it. I put it up. And she's I could never do it banked like you do, Jen. So anything, do it however it is that works best for you.
Yes.
But do it.
Yeah, do it. It's got to fit your lifestyle, and you got to feel aligned with it, with how the format, like you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
And so we started, for example, every week, and that just didn't work for us with our lifestyle. And so I use a podcast a little bit differently. I have events, for example, quarterly events where I have my members from the Women Podcasters Network, and I'll feature them so that people know about women's podcasts, right? So I'll have a whole bunch, 20 to 40 women talking about their podcasts, and I'll release those episodes. That's just one example. I'll have different kinds of things like that throughout the year. So I don't necessarily release one definitively every week. But when I started, years ago, when I started learning, it was where you had to, your podcast had to be exactly, whatever it was, 45 minutes long. And it had to be this, that, and the other thing. And you don't have to do that anymore. You can use it however you want. I know people who have really successful podcasts that are 5 minutes, right? And then, so it just depends on your audience. The main thing is to know your audience. Who is your audience? Who's your ideal listener? And craft a show, pretend you're talking to them.
Oh, I love that. And someone gave me this tip too. So in terms of knowing your audience, but also the other direction, do what makes you happy and your audience will find you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're the type of person that just wants to randomly throw out 5-minute episodes this week on a Wednesday, the next week on the Thursday, like whatever, if it's bringing you joy, then you're going to find your following. Now, there are probably top tips out there, if you want to monetize it, if you want to do this, if you want to do that. But at the same time, just do what's sustainable for you. Like the dripping of the rock. You did what's best for you. If you thought you had to do it every week and this is what you have to do, you probably still wouldn't be where you are.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be a disservice to the entire podcasting community because what you do is such a beautiful thing. And so I'm so glad that you figured out what works best for you. I love that so much.
It is more flexible now than when it first started or 10 years ago.
Yeah. Some people even just do stories. I mean, we've seen that even with the big dogs, like Serial and stuff like that. Like they literally just come. It's like you're watching Netflix. You come in, you tell a story, and then you bounce, and that's it. But it lives out there forever. It's your story. So maybe you have something you want to share. Maybe you have something on your heart, and maybe you just want to put 10 episodes together. And you want to share it from start to finish. This is my life. Maybe it's an experience of skydiving and you want to talk about training and then going up. And then the next episode is getting out and the next episode's landing. But that's your baby that you got to put out there in the world. And I say, just do it. And to anyone out there that let's say they have a podcast, they're a woman, they're out there, they're listening. I have friends and they're all that. Tell me a little bit more about how they can get nominated. How can they join the awards in the future? And how can they support this amazing community that you've been growing?
Oh, well, thank you so much. Well, and the other thing too is I was able to monetize from day one, even though I don't have sort of a traditional format, I'm still able to monetize. So you can monetize it. You can use it. You can use it for your own purposes. And so for anyone who wants to know more about this, you can go to womenpodcasters.com. And if you are a podcaster or a broadcaster or a producer, or even an expert guest, you can go to womenpodcasters.com/awards. You have a few more days. I'm not sure when you're releasing this. The nominations are open until April 30th, and voting starts from May 1st to the end of May, and then the winners are announced June 25th. So I hope everybody votes for your show.
Thank you. Yes, please go vote for Speak Honest. Please, I am up there. You can go give me a vote. It's 1 vote per person, I'm assuming?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. So go get your vote in. You have all month of May. This will probably be going out in May. So the nominations will be closed, but I'm assuming you're going to do this again next year, right?
Yes. So we do it every year. Last year was our inaugural year, actually.
Oh, fantastic. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, it went so well. We had 400 nominees and we had over 15,000 votes. But on top of that, the most wonderful thing was that the podcasting industry really embraced it and really supported me. I had some top people from the podcasting industry come and support the Women Podcasters Awards. So it's well supported. It's well distributed. We're in all kinds of media all over the place and everything. So it's you get a lot of visibility.
I got recommended to go and look you guys up, and it was my marketing director that helped me with this. And so, yeah, no, you definitely are out there. You're getting out there. I say if someone is even listening, because as we talked about, podcasts live forever. So I can imagine someone's going to, Google or whatnot, Women Podcasters Awards. If you're listening to this later on and you want to be nominated, you want to go out there, you want to learn more about it, just go out there. Just go. Take that first leap. It's scary. It's uncomfortable. There's a part of me that's why would I be nominated? Why should I throw my hat in the ring? Who am I? I'm a nobody. And it's like, you know what? No, we're going to cut that out now, ladies. We are everything. We are everybody. We are everyone. And we're all going to lift each other up. So go vote. And you know what? Vote for your favorite podcast, not even just for me. Because, again, like I said, all these other ladies' podcasts, they're amazing. Go find some great stuff to listen to and lift each other up, lift up these other women as well.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much, Jen, for coming on the podcast today. Is there anything else you want to leave us with before we wrap up today?
Well, I just want to say it's such a joy to connect with you and meet with you today. This is why I do this, is to connect with people like you who are just doing such amazing work. And I just enjoy hanging out with you. I enjoy having you in the group. You're so great at connecting with people. And you're right. All of our nominees are listed on the website, so people can go look and they can look up a whole bunch of different kinds of shows. And there's different categories too. So they can vote for you in one category and they can vote for a bunch of other podcasts in different categories if they want.
Oh, that's right. You have all the different categories and you have to do that. So go check out some of them and then go vote for your other ones, because again, the more we lift each other up, the more we all get to rise with the tide. And that's what it's all about. Well, thank you so much, Jen, for coming on. And I can't wait to hang out with you later. I just adore you, and I hope you have a beautiful day.
Oh, thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
I am so glad I got an opportunity to talk with Jen. She is just so inspirational. She is someone I look up to. She is a businesswoman kicking ass, taking names, and it means so much to be a part of her community now. I have met so many other amazing women podcasters. I feel like it's really leveling me up personally as both a podcaster and a coach, just to be amongst these amazing women. And again, I just want to say, if you have the opportunity, could you please, please, please go and vote for Speak Honest. Go ahead and scroll on down to the show notes. There's a link. You want to find me in the personal development category of the Podcasters Awards, and you're going to click on Speak Honest, send me a vote, and then if you can, take a screen cap, drop it in the Facebook group, tell us that you voted, and you will be entered to win a free coaching call with me, because it's my way of saying thank you so much for supporting this podcast. It means the world to me. It truly does. It actually could get me a little bit emotional if I start thinking about it for too long, because this has been my dream. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And always, I will talk to you next week. Until then, take care. As we wrap up today's conversation, always remember that healing is a journey, not a destination. And it is an honor to be a part of your healing journey. If you want to dig deeper into the topics we covered today, be sure to head over to our show notes, where you can find all of the valuable information mentioned in today's episode right there. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's podcast. Your feedback means the world to us and helps others discover our podcast. Until next time, remember to speak up and speak honest.